Hello, welcome to LLG's Random But Real podcast, where you'll hear conversations about any and all things random with an entree, not a side dish, of mental health advocacy. I use my performance, communication, and literary art skills to bring awareness about mental health and other topics. Therefore, whether I'm singing, speaking, or writing, it is my desire that my words will be melodic, just like music to your ears. Welcome to LLG. That's me, Lisa L. Gilliam's Random But Real podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition to LLG Random But Real. I am your host, Lisa Gilliam, otherwise known as One Singing Lady, and I am super excited to have my friend, Vanessa Manago, on the show with me today. Welcome, Vanessa.
Hey Lisa, how are you?
I am great. I am great. I love you. Let's start off with that.
I know you
I
back.
was sitting up here and I was like, dang, when did we meet? I know how we met, but it was like 98 or
Many,
so, 97,
many,
98, because I was
yeah,
in grade school
many years ago.
many years ago. I love it when um people's paths cross. And although I don't speak to you often, when I do speak to you, we, pick up. We've had a lot of mutual friends over the years from different parts of our lives. Like my
Right.
friend, I think her brother was in your class or something, or
Uh
went to school with you.
yeah, I think we have a lot of crisscrosses. Just friends and acquaintances and
Absolutely.
relatives probably.
Probably musicians, singers,
Right,
church people, you
right.
name it. we
Well,
I
that's
want
because you're popular, Lisa. I'm not popular.
That's really because you're my it's so funny. I remember when Philip Carter had me on the show and I was like, is that Vanessa studio? And it was because I hadn't been able to go. And so I was happy to like be there and be in the studio and see you do your thing. And I know you're a phenomenal like videographer and all of that. But for me, I started the beginning and I knew you as a keyboardist and pianist, you know
I
what I'm saying?
know.
And a
No.
lot of people don't really know that about you.
No. So the funny thing is that I don't think I've played. Um, I don't think I played for. I want to say 2000 since 2012 2013.
Oh my goodness. That
So
is way too long.
yeah, it's kind of like I was doing both video and music, trying to really keep up. And at some point, I had to say, okay, this is where I'm really going to put my flag in the sand, in the ground, and just really be known for video. So I had to, just out of necessity, I just gave up music because it was too much. It was too much for me to try to keep both going.
I get it. I'm hurt, but I get it. I really wish you all could, like, if you haven't experienced all of her talents, and don't get me wrong, she's bomb in what she does. Like, that's not, or, politically correct. She is phenomenally talented in all of the gifts that God has given her. But she is also really, a talented keyboardist. I believe that when God has given us a gift, then we've, worked hard to perfect it, even if we put it down for a minute. It
Right.
does leave it because I really haven't. I think I've sang 5 times, like two paid gigs over this last 2 years in the pandemic, just because
Uh,
I don't want to. Like I don't want to be around a lot of people, and I want to protect myself and be in a high risk and having an elderly person in the house too, just making sure that I don't do anything to cause family any more concern or issues. So
right.
I'm not doing that. I am still speaking, and I consider doing the podcast and YouTube lives and stuff like that still a part of the talents and stuff that God has given me. But I can understand having to kind of choose or put it down for a minute. But I hope that
Right.
maybe you'll pick it up even for a hobby one day, even for your friend Lisa.
Well, you know
you
what
know
happened? Let me tell you what happened. So I think that it has kind of evolved. Let's say it that way.
okay.
Because when I am doing my film work, I just finished a documentary last year for a customer, and I'm doing music sound design. So putting music bands
Oh,
that are appropriate for the story, and cutting and
right.
slicing things like that. So I would say that it hasn't completely left.
Okay.
I'm just using it in a different way.
Well, then that's good. Then
Yeah,
I'm not sad
yeah.
anymore. That is also so. I would love to hear your take of how we met. Do you remember?
I do remember we were teaching. You were
Yes,
were teaching voice at Back to Basics. I was teaching
absolutely.
piano,
Yes,
and we just kind of hit it off. I don't remember exactly. I don't remember exactly when we met, but I do know that we were both teaching. We both had
we were.
similar sentiments
Yes, absolutely,
at the time,
absolutely. It's so
and
nice for you to say it that way.
yeah, and so we just so we just I think that we just connected from the very beginning. I think we just connected. We had pretty much same mind. We were both building at the time, kind of starting the ground zero and building. So I think that, it was just intended that, God allowed our paths to cross.
Absolutely. I always have to share this story because after we finished working there, I don't remember which one of us left first, but whatever, we kept in touch
Hmm.
and we kind of lived close. Our neighborhoods were not that far from each other because I had moved on that side of town, closer
Right.
to where you were living at the time. And I had just finished graduate school and I did not have a car. And you all, Vanessa is just like, she really is a sweet, kind person. Like, pretty much what you see is what you get, and that's always been the case. And I didn't ask her. I was just talking, talking about whether she offered to meet me. So she would actually pick me up in the morning. And then I don't my school that I was working at the time was my first job out of grad school. And honestly, I should not have gone back to teaching. I should have stayed in counseling, but that's a whole different story. And she would actually pick me up and then she would drop me off. If you all remember Alabama Avenue and MLK, was it Alabama? It was definitely MLK. And
Oh.
then, like, right where the Popeyes was, she would drop me off there, and I only had to walk like 2 blocks to my school. And then she would go on. She was working downtown, closer to where my school was. I went to GW at the time, and every day, she would do that for
Did I
me.
do that? I don't even
You did? You
remember.
don't remember that? Oh my gosh. Like it was such a blessing. And I don't know, I shortly got a car after that, or I was waiting for it to get fixed because I remember I had gotten it from the auction and the engine was
Oh,
gone. I
okay.
didn't know, of course, um, when I got the car. And so anybody that's willing to go out of their way. I mean, like I did live close by, but that wasn't her responsibility. And I'm, a few years older. That's all we're gonna say is a few. Yeah, a few years old. No, y'all. Like I'm older than Vanessa, and she's always been like a little sister, but a very wise one at that. And so I've said thank you several times. But thank you again for just being there for me, for just your kindness, even and you all know this show is we always touch on mental health or something related to it. And I remember when my mom died and Vanessa reached out to me. You came to the wake too.
Yeah.
Um, and I hadn't seen you in forever, so I didn't even know, but that's how real friends are. Like they'll support you in those times that you don't even expect for them to be there. And
Yeah.
so I've forgotten all about the fact that she had come over when I was still, we were living there, whatever, and she had met my mom and
Yeah.
you know what I mean, my
Yeah.
aunt and like and my brother, like the whole family
Right.
basically. And so you completely forget when you haven't, necessarily kept in touch, but you're just a great person. So you
Oh,
know. You are. And so I want people to know she's not only, into the graphic design, etc. Web, well, not grad. Do you do graphics too?
I
I know
do.
you
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
Okay, that videography, the music, and she's also an author, y'all.
Oh gosh.
So what does it Vanessa do? Would you tell them about your book?
Well,
Like
you. Oh man, you know what? It's funny to me. I was trying to get away from writing. I was trying to
good
get
work.
away from writing, and I had a very awkward dream in September of last year. It did not make sense to me at all, and finally last week, God really opened up what that dream meant, and lately He's been talking to me a whole lot about vision, and I was intending to do something with that, as far as videos go. And um, he opened up this dream to me, and just kind of reminded me that I need to be writing books. so so I don't
Yeah.
know when I'm going to have time to do it, but this one particular topic of vision, the way that he has opened it up to me, I have to write a book. But I have in the past written another book called For Dreamers Only.
Mhm.
It was a 30-day devotional, or it is a 30-day devotional for people who have a dream and they are daring enough and bold enough to pursue it, because that's a whole thing by itself. Just
Right.
having something in your heart that people don't believe in because they don't see it,
Right.
but having the courage and the boldness, and sometimes the true grit, and just being stubborn enough to pursue it and to chase after it. There's some lessons that you have to learn. There's some
Mhm.
things that you have to know going into it. It's not pretty, it's not glamorous, but
Right.
when you learn those lessons early, it makes the journey much easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. See, I told y'all she's wise too, y'all. Very, very
Yeah, I
wise.
mean, I think that a lot of people, generally speaking, when we talk about dream, we glamorize it. We make it into something that is really wonderful, but it's not glamorous. It's not in the beginning, because you're
Right.
actually living in the space that no one else can see.
Yes, very true. It's like after you realize the dream, like or actualize it, then it's like, but then nobody saw all of the stuff you had to do to
Right,
even get to like point A. Forget about point Z, like
right,
just the starting process. Honestly, Vanessa, that's kind of where I am with like my music. I don't care to
yeah,
do it.
yeah,
Like right now, it's so much work, and it's so much, there's so many other things that go along with it. Like I'm thankful. Like I don't want God to take away the gift. I'm
right,
very grateful he gave me a gift to be able to sing and
right,
write. And I do like that, but I don't know, something changed with like speaking. This being a mental health advocate, doing things like this where I'm able to impart wisdom, like use my counseling skills, but I don't have to be a therapist at the same time.
right.
That actually has been more of a blessing to me than maybe singing ever was. But
Oh,
I know I have to go back, just like, I'm not preaching or teaching now either. And um I know eventually I have to do all of the things that, God has called me to do, but
mhm,
I do understand. And, I still have dreams, I still have visions, and they're constantly unfolding, things that I thought I was good at and that I was like, okay, I've reached my place. I don't need to do da 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 anymore. And then I'm just
right,
like, "Ooh, now I gotta do this." Like it doesn't stop. It
right,
goes in a different direction.
right,
So
right.
what do you want the people to know about like you? And I love like I don't know if I will make sure before we get off here that you can leave all your contact information. But sometimes y'all Vanessa post some things on social media, has people stirred up, but in a good way. I love it. It's kind of funny to me, but
Yeah,
it's
I don't
funny.
know. Like what? Give me an
Oh
example.
my gosh, I can't even think. It was, I don't know. I know it was of a spiritual or religious topic, but I can't remember the last one
Oh,
that I read, and I was just like, "Oh my goodness, Vanessa has set these people on fire." They were, whatever the topic was, they were definitely going off. But
oh, wow. Yeah. I don't it's funny. So I would say, I'm not sure. Well, I would say this. I am a PK.
mhm.
I'm the
So
PK
can you tell
who
people because some people may be listening who doesn't know what that
oh,
is.
I'm a preacher's kid.
Yeah.
Um I had a very interesting experience around 2012, 2013, um where I discovered that, mm, my life was going to take a different direction. Um, I did the ultimate. I did what no PK ever does, and that is I sat down with my parents and I said, "Hey, look, you know what? I'm leaving the church. I'm leaving. Not leaving the church, but I was not.
Leaving the home,
Yeah, I was leaving
church.
my home church, the church that I was, kind of raised in. And so I left to pursue my calling, which is video, it is film, it's telling stories. And
Right.
at the time, it seemed like, I mean, I got mixed reviews from a lot of people who were saying, "Oh, you're missing your calling," because I've been licensed, as a evangelist and all that. So
Mhm.
people were saying, "Oh, you're missing your calling. You're walking away from your calling. This, that, and the other." And they're going, what spiritual people do.
Yeah.
Um, and the funny thing about it is that I went alone. I walked. I mean,
Mm.
I definitely closed out what I had. I did it properly, and it was no bad feelings, no ill will or anything. But
Right.
I had to walk alone, through a
Mm.
process and through a journey of discovering who I am, because
Right.
my entire life I was told I was one person, and everything inside of me contradicted what I was told.
Wow.
Right. And so I did. I just kind of set out, and I started walking, and I started walking, and I would pick up little things along the way, and then I would, you know, um, learn things about myself, and I would discover things that I never knew, and figure out what I didn't like and what I did like, and it's been a journey for me.
Mhm.
But the funny thing about it is that COVID-19 hit in
Right.
2020, and some of the same people who were saying, "Oh, you're missing your calling. You're not doing what God wants you to do, and all of these things," are the
Right.
same people that are coming back to me now saying, "Hey, how do we get our church online? How do we
Mm.
stream?" Like, it's like, uh,
They
it
had an
took,
epiphany.
yeah, yeah. Because you know what? I will say this. Um, Even standing in the pulpit, and I've stood in the pulpit a few times. Every single time, I've always felt like I was David in Saul's armor. I did
Mm.
not fit. And I knew it. And I
Gotcha.
would tell them, this is not my thing. And so the funny thing about it is that, video and storytelling, and this, it could be photography or filmmaking, whatever medium I'm working with, that's exactly where I belong. And for
Mm.
me, when we talk about, I mean, we could kind of talk about mental health, we can talk about spirituality. For me, storytelling is as sacred as preaching
Mm.
or teaching. Or I don't think that we have given a certain community, I would say a faith community, I don't think we've given the right perspective when it comes to people and their calling. Like, why is everybody aspiring to be a pastor? Why is everybody aspiring to be a preacher? If you are a financial whiz,
Right.
that's your calling. That's what you're supposed to be doing. And
Gotcha.
that's to me, that's as sacred as anything else. If you
Right.
are a teacher, that's your calling. Like, if you're working with kids every day, God
Lord,
bless
pray
you,
for
first of
us.
all.
Pray for us. I mean, mine is 16 to 21, but trust me, some of them are still in their kid mentality. Believe me. Believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever you do. I just believe that that everybody's gifting is different, and I don't believe that, is that, we talk about spirituality and God and, calling and purpose. I don't believe for 1 minute that everybody is supposed to be uh, functioning only in the church. I don't believe it. I believe that, for me myself, storytelling is what I was made to do. I actually was created to do that.
Gotcha. Yeah,
You
I
know.
get I get it. And it's nothing like walking in your calling. That's kind of how I feel about man, I can speak at any place, anytime, on anything, even if I don't know the topic. Like I am a speaker at the core. Like I love this, except
Right.
for when I don't want to talk. When I don't want to talk, then you're not going to get anything out of me. And it's so funny that I went from, I am honestly a great counselor. I
Right.
do not love it anymore. It's not my passion anymore. And it's funny too, Vanessa. I feel like somewhere, like a lot, there was a shift in my life when my mom died. Not because of her death, but the things
Mhm,
that happened because
mhm,
of her death.
mhm.
And because I know she is probably praising God right now, like dancing. Like she's probably having the time of her life in heaven. I really believe I see that. If you knew my mom, you knew she was a dancer. She's having a ball. But I missed her even more. Her birthday will be is February 24th. And although this show will actually air
Uh,
after that, every I haven't been okay around her birthday or
oh,
her death date.
Yeah.
And the shift for me, I remember her asking me, she's like, you used to love singing. Like, I really wanted to be, I mean, I was approached, I could have signed, I didn't, independent. And, at one time I was going to go after like, major, but I
Mm-hmm.
always had friends and family who did better than me and sang better than me. I never said I was the best.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing was, if I can get paid to do it, then obviously I must not be the worst either, because people not gonna pay for something that they don't, if they're
Right.
not enjoying it.
Right.
But it was still, I would feel intimidated, and I started to feel that way, even like you were talking about in the pulpit, especially this last time around. My mom surprised me one day because I went to a different church, and she showed up because I was preaching. We were going to a nursing home, and I was asked to be the minister that day, and I didn't know she was coming, and she showed up. She was my biggest supporter, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if losing her also made me just feel differently about it was different to look out in the audience and not see her. Because it's like,
Oh.
this is weird, and I didn't do it for her, of course. And I had plenty of family friends. My brother, one of my friends made like different sermons that I
Right.
preached after that, but I just didn't have the same fervor. And then I'll be honest, at one point, definitely started like sin took a place in there, and it was just like I was just trying to find myself because of all the pain, and I definitely wasn't going to be a hypocrite. And
Right.
so you
Right.
read what you want to in that, and so I was just like, nah, and I just really haven't found my way back to wanting to live the dream and also live, you know, um in all of the aspects that God wanted me to. I was the holy roller. I'm gonna be honest. Like, even
Oh.
when I didn't want to be, I was the. Even in grad school, I was the Christian. It was just like, oh, that's the religious one, because everything I said, every answer, every response was about God or Jesus, and,
Right.
this
Right.
was at
Right.
George Washington University, so that is not a Christian school, y'all.
Right. Right.
So what would you say to someone even like me or other people out there that have, you know, have life situations have happened and they've taken a turn outside of what the norm was. But I'm like, in a sense, honestly, happier than I was when I was doing all those things. Because
Right.
now I'm doing exactly like what you were talking about, my calling. But, what would you say? Because you've walked it.
I would say that, and this is so you getting into my book now.
Oh, my bad. And
I
not
would
my
say,
bad. I didn't
yeah,
know, y'all. This
no,
is
but
so this must be God ordained.
yeah.
Okay, go on.
So here's the thing: is that when you talk about taking a different turn, and there's no straight path.
Hmm.
There's no straight path. I will say for sure what I have learned and I have experienced is that when you have a dream or you have a vision or you have a purpose, people will tell you they will try to help you navigate it, but they're
Yeah.
going to navigate from their own reference, right?
Right, right, right.
So they're going to navigate based on what they would be comfortable doing, what they have seen done, like they're going to kind of tell you what they think, but it's your dream, it's your vision, it's your destination,
Absolutely.
it's your purpose. And the truth of it is, Lisa, the truth of it
I'm
is, when you have a vision, the
uh-huh.
vision is not about what you do.
Right.
The
That's
vision is
good.
about who you are.
Mm.
So let me put it this way, because I mean, I'm gonna go to church and I'm gonna come back out. Okay.
It's
So
fine. This is your platform for now, so you can do whatever or say whatever you want to.
so here's the thing. If you think about the ultimate dreamer, right? The ultimate dreamer is Joseph.
Uh-huh.
Joseph had a dream, told his family, they didn't like it, and he was young. He probably was a little arrogant about it. Maybe. Okay, we'll give him that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
they didn't like it, and they rejected his dream, and
Absolutely.
felt some kind of way about him. But
Right.
the everything that Joseph went through, he went into a pit, he went to the Potiphar's house, he went to a prison, then he ultimately became prince. From the time that he had that vision of those dreams, he was a prince.
Mm.
He was a prince in the beginning. That's why he had the vision,
Right.
because God identified Joseph, you're a prince. It wasn't about the doing. So he goes into Potiphar's house. He is immediately ranked number two in the house. Why? Because he was a prince. He goes to a prison. he doesn't act like prisoners. Why? Because he's a prince.
Mm,
He goes in and they're like, oh, you're a prisoner, but we're going to turn the place over to you. Make sure this is run well. Because he was a prince from the very beginning. So when you have
mm,
a dream and a vision, it's not about anything that you do.
mm,
It's not. It's not. It takes a while for you to get to yourself. Your dream is really, and I hope I'm not confusing you, but your dream is really God saying, Lisa, you are my communicator. Now, if you do it through song, if you do it through speaking, however you're doing it in this particular season is right.
mm,
It's
mhm.
right. It's not about what you do, it's about who you are. And as long as you are true to who you are, I believe that you're pleasing God. Does that
Makes
make
sense.
sense?
Yeah, well, clearly I'm definitely true to who I am. And
Yeah,
if
and
you
wherever
know
you
me, then you know like this is me, with good, bad, or indifferent. I've always been the person to say if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. Um, everybody can't be right like me all the time though, Vanessa. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. However, I do one of the funniest things about counseling or the training I received,
hmm
it gives you insight into nonverbal and um not just speech, but also like facial expressions, and we're taught to read between the lines. And
Right.
so it made me write about a lot of things. I literally have friends that tell me I can't stand when you're right. I'm not trying to be right. Like, God would give me
Right.
a innate ability. I think about, the people that I've counseled. I've never been married. I don't have children. Ask me if I've been paid to do counseling sessions with married couples
Right.
and parents and families. That's not me.
Right.
That's God giving me that ability and the
Right.
knowledge.
Right.
And some people are open to it, and some people are like, you don't know what you're talking about because you don't have children. And that can be hurtful sometimes, but I'm still going to tell you what is on my mind
Right.
and or what I'm been told to say. And if you don't like it, that's fine. You can reject it, but you can't say I didn't tell you.
Right.
I'm
Right.
probably not going to go back to you and say I told you so. However, I did tell you, and then that was up to you to decide, how you want to move or what you want to do next. But
Right. Right.
um, it's funny, like when I was listening to you say, I don't know if you remember that. Do you remember us talking about when you were still at your parents' church, and I was just like, you might need to leave. We had literally had a conversation about that. So I don't. That was a really, really long time ago. Like that's when we were in contact, and I know the struggle. Not just you, but there's
hmm
a lot of PKs have when it comes to that because they believe they have to stay. Da da da.
hmm
And I just want to take a second to encourage anybody else that might be going through that struggle. That just because that's where your foundation was, it doesn't mean that you're leaving. The foundational pieces. But sometimes, in order to grow, you have to move.
Right.
So
But I
I'm
mean,
proud of you for
that's
making that
even
step.
that's yeah, that's even biblical. I mean, Abraham, everybody left. Everybody had to
True.
leave. You know what I mean?
True.
Everyone, literally Abraham, David, everyone in the Bible, they had to leave what was familiar in order for
Oh
them to
Lord. After the
realize.
call, I'm gonna have to tell you something, Vanessa. I'm like, God, are you talking to me right now?
I
I'll
mean,
just say this. I have a possible um something's happening that's making me look at whether I'm going to stay in the area or relocate. I'll put it that way.
oh wow.
And so I'm like, okay, but it's funny because I did say in the process, I was like, even if I choose the wrong answer to the test, like God will give you repeat tests. So eventually
Right.
I'll end up where I'm supposed to be
Right.
regardless. But it's interesting that you say that. And growth comes in different areas, and it doesn't necessarily mean relocate to another area, but um something has to change, something has to be done different. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's
Right.
interesting. That's all. I'll leave that alone. You continue.
Yeah, I
Keep
think
it.
I mean to sum it up, here's the thing that I have discovered is that what we do is secondary. I mean, people always say, "What's your why? What's your why?"
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is your why is a byproduct of your who.
Mm,
So, I don't when I make decisions, I have to just remember who I am, if that
okay.
makes sense. I have to remember who I am. And who kind of for me, this is how I move. who I am dictates what I do.
Okay.
I don't get caught up in, oh well, this is a great opportunity. You need to, like, I don't, the doing stuff, the doing is secondary to the being for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I don't feel like most times I don't, even if I make the wrong turn or make the wrong decision, guess what? I can make another decision.
Right.
You know, there's nothing that's permanent. When I start altering who I am and start being dishonest or dishonoring myself, then that's when the problems come in.
Right. I understand that. Mm-hmm.
You know, like, the doing is always secondary to the being. As long as I am being honest about my business, and being forthright about whatever I'm trying to communicate to people, I'm not hiding my hands or doing any shifty or shady stuff. Everything else works out, because the
Right.
ultimate goal, and I mean, I'm kind of in and out of church when I'm talking now, but the ultimate goal is that we become like our Father, right? And we're made in a certain image, and that we express and demonstrate that image. So
Right.
what we do, whatever that calls for, that's that's what we have to do. But the bottom line is, we have to be who God created us to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I have a different I have a different approach to a lot of things and a different way of thinking about things. But at the end of the day, I think what's important is the character. I think what's important is the person that we are, because that's what really matters. It doesn't really matter what we do. It does, but it
So
doesn't. You get what I'm saying?
no, I do. So with that being said, do you feel like you leaving your familiar also expanded um the way that you thought about things? Because even from the times that we've talked, and we've shared a lot of our conversations usually are not like surface. Whenever we do talk,
Yeah,
we've shared a lot over the years. um do you think that that change for you also expanded the way that you think or approach about things now? And had you stayed at that time and not
absolutely.
moved, okay, tell us about that.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have a perspective. I mean, wherever you're standing, you have a certain perspective. And if you stay in the same place, you're going to see the same things. You're going to have the same experiences. There are
Right.
some things you do not learn until you walk through them. You don't know what it feels like until you're lonely. You don't really appreciate company.
Mhm,
You know what I
mhm,
mean? There's certain things that you just have to walk through. For me, it was being in a new church. Like, I've been with these people my entire life. My
mm,
entire identity was I wouldn't say completely wrapped around church, but my entire identity was in a certain circle. And I
mhm,
leave this circle, and now I have to meet new people. I have to make new relationships. I have to, figure things out on my own. And really, for me, it was like what I was putting in. I had gotten to a place where what I was putting into my life across the board, I was not getting that back.
okay.
That was a telltale sign for me. I was like, wait a minute. I've done this right. I've fasted. I've prayed. I've sown. I've done this. I've done, like, all of the things that people had told me, you're supposed to be doing these things. They were not yielding
The
any
result.
ROI, right?
Mhm,
So I was like, well, if I'm not getting what I'm supposed to be getting or what I want to get out of this, I have to change. I have to change. And I had to figure out what changes to make.
right.
You know what I
That
mean?
part.
So I started walking, God directed me out of a place, and I started walking. When I left, soon after I left, we lost our home.
Mm,
I mean, we lost everything. We had to start at ground zero, because again, I had been sowing time into something. I had been sowing resources into something, and my life was in shambles.
wow. Mhm,
I mean, this is what's real.
yeah.
And so how do you rebuild when everybody has been telling you you're building the right way? Well, I had look, I'm the proof. We
Right.
started at ground zero, 2014. And within a short period of time, like I said, God let me out so that he could expose me to other things, so he could expose me to other people, so I could make new relationships, so my capacity could expand, so my eyes could see something new.
Mm,
And from 2014 to today, I mean, like just the opening the studio 2018,
right,
going from a 300 square foot space to a 500-foot square space to a 1,200 square foot space. Like, what that looked like for me. But
right,
nobody would have known that I was building from ground zero.
right, right. And I do think that your service too, like, thank you, God. So even though you weren't doing it at first in what you're doing now, you served like your parents, you know what I'm saying, that
Right,
church, you served
right,
other people, you were sowing seeds all along, ministry and music and helping people and
right.
doing stuff, and it, now you are getting your ROI, return on investment, though, for those of you who don't know. And I'm so proud of you and happy for you. And um
And
I
here's the
I
thing, too, Lisa, that I had to learn is that where you sow is not where you reap.
You're right. That's what I'm saying. You were doing all these other things, and
Yeah,
yet, now it's a different set of harvest,
yeah, yeah,
or a different place of harvest, and that's okay too, as long as, like you said, you're doing like, he says, well, one waters, another one plants, one waters, but God gives the increase, and
right,
so
right,
it looks like now you're getting the increase, and I know I've seen and I've heard and been able to walk aside you. Like, I won't go all into everything. We've joked about a lot of stuff, and so
right.
I'm so proud of you and who you are, and I celebrate every everything that God has done in your life and everything that you've done and put your hand to. I've seen it. You prosper and family. Just you're just an awesome person, like you are. And I'm
Yeah,
happy and proud to know you, and to call you friend. And
yeah, I
just kind of
appreciate it.
want to put that out there. So tell people the name of your company and how they what if they want to hire you for services, where they can find you on social media, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh,
Actually, before you do that, if it's something else you want to say, a last comment before you even do that, that's up to you.
well, I do want to thank you for having me on.
I'm so happy
I
you
know we,
came.
we don't talk all the time, but when we talk, it's always good. We always, are catching up, and
Absolutely.
it's just always a good conversation, even if it's not a podcast. It's just good conversation.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate you having me on, and just a friendship for so many years. I
Yeah.
I kind of I lost count.
I'm still young though.
Yeah, we both
I'm
are.
like, we are. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I will be 49 in May. Like, that's
Oh wow. Yeah, you're
I don't
still
know
young.
where the time went, but
Oh, you're still
it's
young.
all good.
Yeah, you're still young. So
Yes,
yeah,
I am.
I just wanted to say thanks for the years. It's been
Oh,
good, you
it
know.
has, it has. We have to do better though. Like, we gotta, like, at least maybe once a year
I know,
stay in touch.
I know. And not at midnight.
Not just right, not in midnight, and not just on social media,
Yeah.
but you know. We'll run into each other at some point, but we need to maybe make some intent. That's one of the things that I've been doing. I will say this. I'm gonna say this really quickly. One of the things I learned after my mom's death is to be intentional about making plans, and that was one of the ways I started to heal. Every weekend, I made a plan
Oh,
to do something with my friends, my family, whatever. And people think they have all the time in the world, and
right.
so many of my friends and family, even in their 50s, my friends that are like 50, 51, like they're
Mhm.
literally dying.
Oh,
Strokes, heart attacks, not even in COVID, of course. And so it makes me be more intentional about being around the people that I genuinely care about. And because I don't go to engagements like I used to,
right.
wanting to be around a lot of people, although I need to change that too. I want to be more intentional. And so that's what I'm working on. That's a dream and a vision that is coming to pass. So
That's good. That's good.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so to get in touch with me, I am on social media. Business is VMI Agency. That's Vanessa Manago International. That's a dream agency.
So
Um,
it's coming to pass.
so yeah, so Instagram and Facebook, and also the website is vmiagency.com.
Okay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You all can find me Lisa One Singing Lady Gilliam. So if you go on YouTube, it's spelled out youtube.com/ONE ONEISINGINGLADY. So one singing lady. I hope I spelled that right because I wasn't really thinking when I said it, but it's one singing lady. And then on Twitter, um, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, number one singing lady. So one numeral one singing lady. So please, you'll be able to see this. This one will come out. I pre-record, but you will be able to see and listen to this podcast on all of the social media outlets. Of course, I'm going to share it with you, Vanessa, so you can share with others, and
Thank you.
let us know when your next book or books come
Uh,
out.
oh, wait a minute. You're on TikTok. I need to go look you up on TikTok.
Oh yes, we got to definitely follow each other. I didn't think I was gonna like it, but I love it. It's
Are,
it's very entertaining.
are you doing social dances, dance challenges?
I don't do them. I watch them, and
Okay.
then I watch my friends who sing. Like my friend Taylene, she's always singing the duets on there. One of my friends,
Oh.
though, a coworker, she does all the dances and the duets. It's hilarious to me. That's all I do is laugh, and then I use it to promote. So it's funny. Sometimes I get more likes and watch and stuff on there than I do on the stuff I've been on for years. And I just
Oh,
joined TikTok probably last year, so it's all good though. It's all good. So definitely, yes, please connect. You all make sure that you like Vanessa, and follow her on all those social media platforms. And we appreciate you taking the time to converse with us or listen to us tonight.
yes.
And we will definitely talk to you soon. Thank you so much, Vanessa. I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you. We got to do better, though, Lisa.
I know we
I
will.
will do better. I'm not even going to talk about you. I will do better.
Right. We won't. We'll just keep it at that because sometimes others reach out more than others, but it's cool because we are still connected, and that's what's important.
Yes,
Seriously.
ma'am.
All right, everybody have a good I guess good day, good evening, good night, whatever time you're listening to the podcast, and we appreciate it. Thank you so much, Vanessa, and I will definitely talk to you soon.
Okay, take care. Have a great
You
day.
too. All right. Bye-bye. Please note any comments made on this LLG Random But Real podcast by myself, Lisa One Singing Lady Gilliam, or my guests are our own views. They are not to be made or determine an actual professional or in lieu of an actual professional. If you relate to any of the topics, please seek professional help. Contact a therapist, a psychologist, any other mental health professional, or if it's an emergency, please call 911. Thank you so much for tuning in.